What's good, YouTube, man? It's your boy, man, Jay Willie Silly, man, aka Mr. Take It Easy for you end up like BZ. But make sure y'all follow my Twitch, man. Subscribe to my second channel. Everything you need to know about your boy Jay is in the description down below. We will not be going live on Twitch tonight, bro. I don't know, bro. I don't know, man. You know what I'm saying? I just I really cannot explain to you guys, bro, why I'm not going live on Twitch. Like, I literally could have went live on Twitch tonight, bro, but sometimes, bro, I told you, like, it's like, yeah, people is watching me right now, but on Twitch I be live, so it'd be like live, like people actually watching me live, bro. So I tell y'all this all the time, bro. I just do not, you know, I understand why other YouTubers take breaks when it comes to YouTube. You know what I'm saying? And remind y'all, bro, I've been doing this for not on this channel, but I'm just saying, like, in the whole, like in my other channel before it got banned, I've been doing this for freaking 5 years, dang near, man. You know what I'm saying? I have over, with this channel and then the other channel, bro, I have like, bro, like, like over freaking 5,000 some videos, bro. So it's freaking crazy, man. So I told y'all, bro, sometimes I just don't be wanting eyes on me, bro. And sometimes I just like being left alone, and I don't want to deal with, like, when I get in that mood, and I know some people probably understand the mood that I'm talking about. When I get in that mood where just like, I don't want to talk to I get in that mood sometimes, bro, where I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want nobody looking at me. Like, I just want to be, I just want to vanish. Like, I get the moods a lot. Like, I just want to vanish. Like, I just want to be literally by myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be bothered by nobody, bro. So I was kinda in that mood today and kinda not. You know what I'm saying? I was in a good enough mood to upload today. You feel me? I was kind of thinking in my head, I'm like, should I upload? Should I, you know? I was like, you know what? Let me go and get to this money on. You know what I'm saying? But we got The Conjuring, the history of Valak, horror history, man. I'm gonna bring in a lot of movie reactions for y'all, bro. We're not gonna be one-sided. That's one thing that I pride myself on the most, is not being one-sided. You know what I'm saying? Not just reacting to sports, not just reacting to scary things, not just reacting to true crime, you know what I'm saying? But being diverse is something that I truly pride myself on, you know what I'm saying? Honestly, you know, day by day. So that's what we're going to do. So for all my new subscribers, for all my new viewers, if y'all do want to go check out this video, it is in the movies reactions. I don't have too many videos in that playlist section, bro, but more videos are coming. More videos are going to get uploaded to the playlist section, you know what I mean?
Most feared demon in the Conjuverse lore to date, we must look to the legends.
And look, the thing is that creeps me out about The Conjuring is that this was actually a true story. Matter of fact, and I didn't watch the new Conjuring, but I know one movie that I am going to watch, bro. It comes out close to Christmas Day, bro. It's the Avatar. I've lied, you know what I'm saying? Plenty of times, and I'm not a liar, but it be the little things, bro, you know. That kind of bothers me, you feel me? When you're not a liar, bro, it just, I don't know, it just bothers you, I don't know. But I've lied multiple times to myself saying that I was going to go watch The Conjuring, said I was going to go watch Final Destination. I just never did it, you know what I mean? But I know for certain, bro, I went to see the last Avatar that dropped in the movie theaters, bro, in 3D. When I mean, y'all, bro, 10 out of 10. It does no justice, bro, you waiting for it to drop, bro. You need to go watch Avatar in 3D. You know what I'm saying? So I know I'm going to go watch Avatar in 3D for sure. It comes out December 21st. But I gotta watch the new Conjuring, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
In one small town in Romania. The tales tell of a duke in the Dark Ages, which puts us somewhere between 500 and 1000 CE. He built a great castle, which would later be known as the Abbey of St. Carta. Hidden in the dungeons was a summoning ground, carved with the serpentine symbol of a mythical being known as Valak. The people of the town feared the duke because he wrote countless texts on witchcraft and rituals to call upon these evil forces of hell. He would eventually use these spells to open the gateway between our world and the underworld. By sacrificing 5 people as a part of his spell, the duke would allow Valak to come through and walk amongst the living. But as Valak rose through the crevices, the church, who had caught wind of the foul things happening there, stormed the castle and interrupted the liturgy. They attempted to seal the gateway using liquid from the Holy Grail, and while this appeared to cause the portal to close back up, this seal would not last forever. To learn the secrets of Valak's past, the entity's true purpose, and what it represents for the story and the character's future, stick around to the end of this video. Welcome to Horror History. My name is Professor CZ's World, and you better pay attention this time, you little piece of shit. In today's lesson, we're going over what I consider to be the main
Dang, my boy, dang, chill out.
Like its counterpart Malthus from the Annabelle spin-offs, Valak is based on a mythological deity from the Lesser Key of Solomon, a series of grimoires on demonology. It's divided into 5 books, one of which is called Ars Goetia, a textbook guide to conjuring demons. In Annabelle, Ars Goetia was replaced with this textbook called The Devil's Welcome. But to learn about Valak, we need to turn the clock back even further and look into the pages of these mysterious texts found in a tomb just outside the Abbey of St. Carta.
I love learning history when it comes to movies, bro. I really do.
Books are discovered, we can see the outer cover of 3 of them.
I feel like a lot of us just be watching movies sometimes. Like, not me personally, you know what I'm saying? Honestly, not me personally, bro, but I just feel like it's really important for every individual, bro, to go back and watch a movie that you've already watched, bro, because I'm telling you, y'all, bro, it's plenty of movies, bro, that I've just went back and just tuned into and I missed something. I'll be like, bro, how the freak did I not see that the first time that I seen the movie? You know what I'm saying? So it's been a lot of clues that I missed when it come to movies, bro. I feel like, you know, sometimes, you know, and like I said, sometimes even me, you know, like just watch movies sometimes and don't be truly paying attention. But I ain't gonna lie, it is very rare for me. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, I be tuned in. That's one of the things that I love the most. Let me go and see something right quick, y'all. Matter of fact, let me go and see. Hold on.
Of them have
Okay, I gotta check something right quick. All right, bro. I just had to make sure that you know, bro, cause y'all, bro, I'm telling y'all, bro, it's so many times, bro, where I've done a video, bro, and my mic has been muted, bro. The freaking audio from the video has been muted, bro. Went through the whole video, bro, and it's just been muted, bro. And I was pissed the freak off, you know what I mean? So I had to check that mid video. But man, I'm just saying, man, you know, plenty of other videos, you know what I'm saying? Not videos, but movies, excuse me, bro, that you just probably got to go back and watch. Like, for me, honestly, I'm a big series guy. So what I'm watching right now is The Night Agent. You know what I'm saying? If y'all haven't watched that, that's on Netflix. That's a good series that I'm watching, bro. But for a series right now that I recommend, that I highly recommend, bro, because like I said, I say it multiple times, and I'm gonna say it again. I have a Fire Stick. You know what I mean? So basically, I get I get Netflix, I get Paramount Plus, I get Apple TV, bro. I get freaking Hulu, but I get all that in one. You know what I mean? So maybe From isn't on Netflix or Hulu. I don't know where From is, bro. But bro, when I mean From was like one of the most craziest series. Like, that was a series that you have to pay attention to. You know what I'm saying? If you didn't pay attention to like series like From, bro, you know what I'm saying? You just not gonna understand it, bro. You know what I mean? So I was locked in, bro. You know, I feel like movies that demands attention, I truly pay attention to. You know what I mean?
Piercing yellow serpentine eyes, much like the eyes of Valak and anyone else the demon takes control of. This suggests that these books, unlike The Devil's Welcome, may specifically be about Valak. The snake eating its own tail symbol is commonly associated with Valak in the movie, but I'll come back to that shortly. In Ars Goetia, there are 72 demons said to have been commanded by the Israeli King Solomon. They range from kings,
King Solomon,
dukes, princes, marquises, knights, presidents, and earls. Valak is considered—
Don't play with King Solo!
In the mythology, Valak looks a lot different than it does in the Conjuring movies, but there are
do not play with King Solo
version that you may not have noticed in the movies. On one page of the book, there is a boy-like form with a snake coming out of its mouth. This is likely a reference to how Valak is depicted in the Lesser Key of Solomon, as an angelically winged boy riding on a 2-headed dragon. In the movies, Valak is a shapeshifter, whose form seems to change based on what makes its victims most uncomfortable. There's also this image. Valak is commonly associated with a snake. Serpent symbols can be found throughout the monastery, and there are multiple occasions where the demon is introduced as Valak, the defiler, the profane, the Marquis of Snakes. The bird is probably there to represent Malthus, an Earl of Hell in mythology, who you may know as the demon who's connected to—
Oh my God, Annabelle, man, heck no. Boy, Annabelle, boy, shoot, Annabelle comes home. Oh my goodness. But the most terrifying scene, bro, was when this lady was in the wheelchair, bro, and you heard footsteps coming down the stairs, bro, and nobody was coming down the stairs. And then once the footsteps, bro, reached downstairs, they started circling her, bro. Oh my God, it's almost
Did an entire video on the history of Malphas if you're interested. That would also leave the question of who these other two horned demons are, perhaps other villains that we'll meet in future Conjuring movies. On another page you'll see a more familiar sight, the nun form of Valak, which seems to be its favorite form to use, but there may be a reason that we see the nun form so often. On the side you'll notice another picture of a snake eating its own tail. This is known as an Ouroboros, a mark seen in many ancient cultures as a symbol for the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. We don't exactly know what Valak's endgame is, but we know that it has a strong desire to possess, as explained in The Conjuring 2. Perhaps by possessing someone and moving into a new body, Valak feels a new sense of life, and the Ouroboros is a sign of the tendency to go from body to body, creating a cycle of new demonic possessions. The text written in the book isn't legible, but Father Burke does read some of it aloud, and I am going to roll it. So roll it.
And out of the ground formed every beast of the field, and every bird of the sky. Whatever the man called the living creature, that was its name. Valak.
This passage is part of the biblical text of Genesis 2:19, so I looked up the meaning of that passage and found the following.
I'll be trying to tell y'all, bro. You know, one thing about me, man, hey, demons are real. I don't want y'all to look at this like it's some type of movie. Yes, a movie, but bro, demonic spirits, bro, are so real. It doesn't make no sense. So all y'all thinking that hell is going to be a party, it's just, for me, honestly, you don't have to believe in heaven. You don't have to believe in hell. I just feel like the safer way, bro, to me is honestly just, but like for me, I'm going to believe in heaven and I'm going to believe in hell until the day that I die, you know, and it seems to seem so supernatural to people. But if you walk outside in the earth, bro, the world that we're living in is supernatural. We're just used to it. You know what I'm saying? We're just used to the supernatural that's around us. But if you walk outside and look around the world, this is not normal. You know what I'm saying? We're just used to this. You know, so that's all I be trying to just state to people. People be thinking that we're so normal and that the world is so normal. No, it is not, bro. You know, like I'm just, like I try to explain to people, like, bro, you drive across a bridge, bro, and you see an ocean. You know, that's not freaking normal. Like, just wake up, bro. You know, stop being so closed-minded, bro. I feel like a lot of people are just so closed-minded, bro. You know, and I try to state this to people, like, dreaming is not normal. You know, like, how can I go to sleep and then feel like I'm somewhere else, like in another dimension or something? That's not normal. Like, how we are supernatural. Do you not understand how we are supernatural beings? You know what I'm saying? Like, I can literally daydream and think about something that happened in the past, and it feels like I'm watching like a movie in front of my eyes. You know what I'm saying? That's not normal, my mans. Of course you're not a god. Of course you're a human being for sure, but bro, I'm just saying, like, you're not as normal as you think you are. That's all I be saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, you think you're so normal, but you're really not. Same thing when it comes to demonic spirits. You know, you have a spiritual world and then you have the human world. You know, it's two different worlds. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, so that's all I'm saying, man. So for me, I'm going back to what I was saying, the heaven and the hell, what I was just talking about. I rather believe it's a heaven and hell than not. You know, so all the people talking about, bro, you know, ain't no such thing as heaven and hell. I mean, when you die, you know, what you gonna do if there's a such thing as heaven and hell? You know what I mean? Then what you gonna be like, I didn't believe. It's gonna be too late for that. You know what I mean? You know, and the things you're gonna see, you know what I mean? I just, for me, I'm not gonna take that chance, you know, honestly.
Naming something is meaningful.
That's the most scariest thing, not believing in God and not believing in heaven and hell. And then once you die, you're there. You know what I'm saying? Once you die, you're there. That's the most scariest thing, bro. You're gonna be begging and pleading, you know what I mean? You're gonna be begging and pleading for God then, but God try to give you so many warnings on earth, man. You know what I'm saying? That's all I be saying. I'd rather believe than not believe. I'm just, you know.
The book of Genesis. This often implies rule and responsibility over that thing. This may explain why Lorraine is eventually able to defeat Valak, but we'll get there when we get there. Now you may be thinking, this Valak guy sounds like kind of a bad dude going around and possessing people and crap. I mean, who would actually want to summon Valak? If we go back to the mythological readings of Ars Goetia, it describes the benefits of calling upon this malevolent force. He perfectly locates hidden treasure and finds where serpents may be hiding, which he delivers onto the hands of the conjurer. Valak is void of any force or strength, strength, but has dominion over 30 legions
Cheers,
of devils.
cheers,
If
cheers.
this holds true for the Conjuring version of Valak, it explains why the Duke of St. Carta built this fortress and tried so hard to summon Valak there. He was driven by the allure of power and riches. The book also associates a sigil, or a symbol
Power and
power
riches.
to each of the 72 demons. If you've seen Hereditary, you may recognize.
Oh my God, Hereditary! Oh my goodness! When I mean y'all, demonic. No, I think it was Pet Cemetery. It wasn't Hereditary. It was Pet Cemetery. Oh my God, one of the most scariest movies I've ever watched in my lifetime.
Of this. They don't lean too hard on this in The Conjuring, but I did notice that the summoning ground inside the abbey almost seems to resemble the sigil of Valak. But upon closer inspection, the outer ring is formed by a double Ouroboros. This image can be seen in one of the other books next to a more traditional demonic form resembling a gargoyle. I've always assumed that this is Valak's true form, because it's also seen labeled as Valak on another page, and it seems to be the form used when Valak enters and eventually exits our world. That brings me back to the summoning ritual, which, as I mentioned, was thwarted by the church. They took over the castle and converted it into the abbey. The place was fully surrounded by crosses to keep the evil contained, and nuns prayed there continuously, working in shifts so that the place was constantly being blessed. Earlier, I called Valak the main boss of the Conjuring franchise, and this is why. Malthus from the Annabelle movies is considered one of the most powerful supernatural entities, but in order to keep it contained, the Warrens have a priest come twice a month to bless the room. To keep Valak contained, however, several nuns have to work together 24/7, and even this is only enough to hold the demon off for so long. One of them describes the bombs of war shaking the abbey and once again cracking open the gateway. I'm guessing that this was during World War II, and Romania was subject to air raids during that war. Romania was hit with air raids in 1943 and 1944, less than a decade before the main events of The Nun, which takes place in 1952. But ever since those bombs dropped, an unidentified nun began stalking the corridors of the abbey at night. But this nun was anything but holy.
I went to see The Nun too. I'm not gonna lie. I went to see The Nun. It wasn't really that scary,
As
honestly.
perhaps the most powerful entity in the world.
But it would have been scary to people that don't watch scary movies. You know what I mean? For me, honestly, like I said, for me, I've watched plenty of scary movies, bro. So for me, honestly, it wasn't really scary to me. But I feel like for people that didn't like, that's not intertwined with the horror scenes and all that, bro. With the horror movies, bro, I feel like don't watch The Nun because you're gonna be scared, man.
Of The Conjuring, with the ability to
But it
take on
wasn't
any form,
scary to me. I'll give it like a 5 out of 10 when it comes to scary.
Become a simple nun.
Scary
Why not
rating.
a creepy clown or mummy or Coraline's mom? The answer lies in its setting.
It's something unholy. It takes on different forms to deceive us and prey on our weaknesses.
Valak uses the nun form to blend in with the order and eventually purge or corrupt each of them. This could be the reason that the nuns are generally never supposed to leave the abbey, so they cannot be a vessel for Valak's escape. It was likely just after Valak was released, but before they realized that Valak was among them and locked the place down when Sister Charlotte visited the abbey. While she doesn't personally encounter Valak, she does have kind of a close call since it seems to appear in the background of her photo. One by one, Valak picks off each of the remaining nuns until only 2 remain. They go into the dungeon area where the gateway is to try to retrieve a relic that they believe will save them. But when Valak quickly strikes down the elder of the two, the lone survivor must give herself up so that the demonic presence does not have a vessel to escape in. Not long after, a delivery guy named Maurice, most people just call him Frenchie, discovers the remains, and word gets around to the Vatican that trouble is afoot in Romania. They send one of their best priests, Father Burke, and an inexperienced novitiate, or nun in training, named Irene Palmer to investigate. Valak watches them as they arrive, and somehow the scene of the incident is still fresh. Valak continues to haunt the premises, but the ghosts of the nuns that inhabited it still linger. So when Sister Irene and Father Burke speak to the Reverend Mother, the highest-ranking nun in the convent, I'm assuming that this is actually Valak, posing as the Reverend Mother, because the throne she's sitting on has an Ouroboros on it. She tells them that the nuns are about to take a vow of silence for the evening, but they can stay over and speak to them in the morning. This may be part of Valak's plan to try to eliminate Burke and possess Irene during the night. As Frenchie heads back to the town after escorting them, Valak uses a variety of scary forms to send him running so that he's unlikely to want to come back for them, including this thing. If we're doing spin-offs on every character that appears, we gotta do this guy. Burke is awoken by what appears to be a boy he performed a failed exorcism on years ago. When he catches up to him,
this the nun. This the nun. Yeah, this the nun. This is what I went to watch, bro. I ain't watched this movie. I ain't watched this movie in a long time, but yeah, I remember certain scenes that's popping up. I remember certain scenes. Yeah, it was a good movie, but I'm just saying to me, it was when it comes to the scale rating, it was 5 out of 10. But if y'all haven't watched The Nun, bro, you need to go watch The Nun, bro. Like it was cool. But who did I go to the movie theaters to see this with? I think I went to go see this with my auntie. You know what I'm saying? I think we went to AMC. No, I don't think we went to AMC. It was a high bougie, like it was, bro. I don't know where the freak we went, but bro, it was high and bougie. Cause you know, for me, man, I ain't gonna lie, I'm bougie. You know, you ain't finna catch me at no, you know what I'm saying, no Rika Dink Dink. I don't think it was AMC, bro. You know, but it was a freaking, bro. I just know it was highly bougie. You know what I'm saying, honestly. But yeah, definitely, you're definitely not gonna catch me at no. Like I said, for me, bro, I try to tell y'all, bro, I don't play ghetto. You know what I'm saying? I don't play low ratings. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to catch me in the ghetto. You're not going to catch me in the ghetto movie theaters or nothing that. No, you catching me in theaters, bro, where I can eat in the theaters. You know what I mean? You catching me where I can order. Yeah, that's the theaters I be at. You know what I'm saying? Oh, my God, bro. I remember I went to this one theater, bro, with my uncle, bro. When I mean, y'all, it was up North Georgia, bro. But it was like a theater built like a castle. That junk was insane. Junk was insane, but they got some nice movie theaters in Georgia, but got some nice ones. I'm not going no rinky-dink movie theater, bro. You know, I'm just keeping it real. I only go to nice places. That's all I do. I go to nice places. Ghetto-fied is what I do not deal with. I don't deal with no ghetto junk. I ain't gonna lie to you, guys.
He performed a failed exorcism.
When I go somewhere, it's picture perfect. Best believe. 4.8 and up. You know what I'm saying? We not going below 4.8. That's pushing it. You know what I'm saying? 4.9. You know? Yeah, one thing I'm telling you, man, I'm a bougie man, bro. I'm telling you. You know, I'm not one of the men that go anywhere. I'm a bougie man, bro. I look at them reviews and I'm telling you, if it's below 4.8, we can't touch it. I'm gonna keep it real.
When he catches up to
always look at them reviews, ladies and gentlemen. Always look at them reviews before you go anywhere, no matter if it's you're going to Airbnb, no matter if it's a movie theater, a restaurant, a store, whatever. I'm telling you, reviews, bro, will save you from ghetto-fied.
Snake slithers out of the boy's mouth and comes for Berg,
it's
knocking
crazy.
him back into an open casket, which becomes instantly buried by Valak's magic. Next, Sister Irene is lured out of bed into the
instantly
trap, where she
buried.
sees the demon's shadow circle around her until it gets to the mirror and appears in a corporeal form behind her, but only in the reflection, before it roars at her and shatters the mirror. Valak appeared to them each in different forms because it represents that which they have yet to overcome. For Burke, he hasn't stopped feeling guilty about the child he was unable to save, so Valak appears as that child to prey on his weakness. For Irene, it appears as the nun, because she hasn't made the commitment to take her vows yet. They are each confronted by a challenge that they have yet to overcome. Irene hears a bell ringing in the graveyard, signifying that Burke had been buried alive and was using his lifeline. You should learn from his example, and when you do, make sure you hit all notifications. The next morning, they come back to speak with the nuns, not realizing that there are none remaining. Like N-O-N-E, none. I assume that Valak is the one to open the gate for them, and probably also
N-O-N-E, none.
Evening, locking Irene inside.
So you won't get it confused.
As Father Burke studies the map, Valak, this time posing as the abbess, tells him that he won't find another way in.
It's too late, Father. Sister Irene is lost.
This also plays into Burke's fears, because he doesn't want Sister Irene to be the latest person he was unable to save. Valak grabs him, using the same decrepit hands that attacked him while he was trapped in the coffin, and they break off and crumble on the floor. He also encounters a zombified version of the boy that's been haunting him. His demonic hands protrude from the walls. When he reaches him, he has Valak's signature yellow eyes and a forked tongue, a trait commonly associated with the devil. Burke breaks free and runs for it, probably narrowly avoiding being possessed, and when he looks back, the ancient evil has reverted to its unnerving nun form. Meanwhile, Irene awakes from a nightmare and discovers a door that's labeled Finite Hic Deo, or God ends here.
Ain't gonna lie, I don't remember the nun being this crazy. We keep it real.
You already know what's coming. She gets air yeeted across the hall, but she's rescued by the ghost of
I think I probably gotta go watch The Nun again.
Midnight emergency.
I don't remember a lot of these scenes, you know what I mean? For surely only.
Scene that took place at some point in the 1940s, just after Valak had begun coming after the lives of these nuns, and we're just seeing a slightly altered version of it that includes Sister Irene, but since I don't know that 100%, I'm keeping it here in the chronology. I'm also not really clear on if the prayers of the ghost nuns would actually help hold the seal at all, but we can at least say that them encouraging Sister Irene to pray would have some effect, because Sister Irene is real. It doesn't come without cost though, because Valak makes like that goth girl you dated in college and scratches a pentagram into her back. Burke and Frenchie team up against
Girl, you better stop praying.
Of Sister Victoria. Based on what we know from Ed and Lorraine's various lectures, this isn't a possession, because the demon would need a soul in order to possess someone, and that would defeat the purpose of Sister Victoria's sacrifice. So what's probably going on here is that Valak is just moving around her body the same way that Malthus moves around the Annabelle doll.
He was moved around to give the impression of possession.
Anyway, Anyway, they catch up with Sister Irene, who finally realizes the nuns she's been talking to were only an apparition.
There's no one left. We have our answer, Father. As if there was any doubt before, this place is no longer home.
Valak next encounters them in the dungeon area, beyond the door with the Latin text translating to God ends here. This area represents hell within
God
the
never ends.
So it's fitting that this should be where their final
Promise
battle
you
with
that.
Valak takes place. They split up to
I
search
promise
for
you
the
that.
gate, because, you know, that's the best plan in a horror movie. Sister Irene enters one of the rooms, and Valak appears in the form of a, what's the word for a group of
Jesus.
nuns? A
Oh.
horde or a flock? Okay, I looked it up. Apparently it's called a superfluity, which was definitely not the word I was looking for, but whatever. We'll just call it a crowd of nuns. Each of them has their faces covered, and they're able to overcome Irene and possess her.
You failed. Just as you failed everyone in your life. Tomorrow, I'll finish what I'm missing, it's idiot.
Boy, I would have, man. I don't know what I would have done if I seen that in real life. Jesus of Nazareth.
Irene's apparent possession does not
Would have been
last long,
speaking in
as Frenchie
tongues
kicks down
and
the door and
all
encounters
type
the
of.
possessed Irene, who air yeets him into a pillar. We've seen a lot of air yeeting in this franchise, and really just in this era of horror in general, but that one looks kind of painful.
Boom, boom, boom.
However, Sister Irene still has the Holy Grail hanging around her neck, and Frenchie is able to smear some of it onto Irene, which immediately exorcises the demon. We've seen characters use incantations, holy water, and crosses as part of the exorcism process, but this is by far the most effective and powerful method. Obviously, there's going to be a very limited supply though, so from a balance perspective, this doesn't break the game in favor of the good guys. Valak reverts back to the nun form and grabs hold of Frenchie after sending Irene flying out of the room, and he becomes the next victim of Valak's possession. This is the only time we see Valak possess someone on screen, and it's different from any of the possessions we've seen in other Conjuring universe movies. The other entities possess a person by basically puking this in their mouth. I mean, I don't really know how else to describe it, but with Valak, we see a snake slither out of its mouth and into Frenchie's. There's also an image of this in one of the Duke's books. The reason I bring this up is that it connects back to the idea that I mentioned earlier, that the Ouroboros is always associated with Valak as a sign of the cycle of demonic possessions as the demon goes from person to person. All evidence points to these demons being able to essentially split themselves to be able to do multiple things at once. So while Valak was incubating inside of Frenchie's body, the nun form could continue to terrorize Irene and Burke by rising out of the water that now covered the gateway and attempting to drown Irene. Burke tried to send the demonic entity back to hell, but was overcome by its power. So it's ultimately Irene who tricks Valak by pretending to offer the Holy Grail, perhaps the biggest bane that still threatened the creature, and instead spitting its contents out onto the unholy being, causing it to be torn apart as the gateway to hell appears to close. The fact that she defeats it by spitting is significant, because there had long been a superstition in the nearby village that they should spit on the ground whenever the cursed abbey is mentioned. Sister Irene's victory also makes sense. Valak was still attacking her in its nun form, probably not realizing that she had taken her vows shortly before. Irene was no longer afraid of this religious commitment, so the appearance of the nun would no longer intimidate her. But this wouldn't be the last time that Valak would utilize this appearance. The demon lies dormant inside of Frenchie's body and uses it as a vessel to break free out of the circle of crosses that surrounded the abbey. The evil was no longer contained to a singular location. It would continue to incubate within him as he eventually settled down and got married, at which point the symptoms of his possession made themselves noticeable. In 1970, help was called in. Frenchie is diagnosed by a pair of paranormal investigators named Ed and Lorraine Warren. Lorraine is most likely the sister, or at least a very close relative of Sister Irene, given that Irene is from Bridgeport, Connecticut, the same place that Lorraine was born. They also both have clairvoyant visions, and that ability seems to be hereditary. Lorraine's daughter exhibits the trait as well. When Ed and Lorraine meet Frenchie, it's one of the worst possessions they've ever seen. He's speaking in fluent Latin, despite having a third-grade education, and inverted crosses can be seen emanating from under his skin. The couple assisted on the exorcism, and since Lorraine was a medium, it took a huge toll on her, so much that she locked herself away for 8 days and never spoke about the experience for many years. It's possible that Valak wanted revenge on the family after Irene burned it so badly in Romania, and it wouldn't be done with them quite yet. We never find out if this exorcism was successful, but we do know that the results were grim for Frenchie and his family. In 1976, Lorraine has a vision containing Valak while investigating an unrelated case in Long Island, and the experience contributed to making it one of the most haunting cases of her career.
This
This is as close to hell as I ever want to get.
With Frenchie no longer around, Valak searched for a new target. There were probably other possessions that took place between Frenchie's demise in 1970 and the happenings in Enfield, England in 1977, but so far they have not been documented in any movie. The best targets for a demon are those who are weak of faith, as we learned from Sister Charlotte in Annabelle Creation. And one thing that can cause a person's faith to weaken is distress in their family life.
The timing is...
Heck yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? That junk be real, man. I'm telling you, bro. Like, bro, them demons, bro, and that junk be real. Like, the devil, bro, knows my weak spots, bro. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna just be open about it. You know what I mean? The devil know that my weak spot is lust. You know what I'm saying? He knows it. You know, so he try to send every type of beautiful woman my way. Bro, it just be crazy. You know what I mean? Especially, bro, when I was with my, oh my God, bro. When I was with my ex-girlfriend at the time, bro, bro, when I mean, I just was seeing women like, bro, and they was looking at me hard. I'm like, bro, you know what I'm saying? Like, right when you get closer to God, bro, you just start seeing the most beautiful women from top to bottom. And you just be like, give me now for I have sinned. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just like, bro, like this man like really knows my weak spots, you know what I'm saying? But I ain't gonna lie, I don't look at women lustfully. Like I mean when I was walking, like I was at Publix, y'all, when I mean like I wasn't looking at her, bro, but she came like I'm finna walk into Publix, bro, and she just came out of nowhere and walked in front of me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and bro, I can just know, I can tell like, yeah, the fat producer on her, yeah, the producer. You know what I'm saying? She had something on her, bro. I could just see from the corner of my eye, but you know, it's like the devil wanted me to lust so hard, you know what I'm saying? But I ain't even look her way, bro. I just winning her, bro. You know what I'm saying? And just, you know, I was proud of myself, bro, because the old Jay, the worldly Jay, bro, you know what I'm saying, would have been lusting all on her, you know what I'm saying? You know, all type of stuff, you feel me? But the devil be knowing what the journey you be trying to, he know the discipline and the consistency that you need in order to be successful in what you're trying to accomplish. So he would just throw anything at you just to steer you from, you know, because the devil know I ain't focused on having a girl right now. The devil know I'm not focused on women right now. So it's like, bro, the devil, bro, was sending women in your freaking life, bro, to destroy you, bro. And I feel like that happens with a lot of men. You know, a lot of men's downfall is women, bro. So, you know, me and God has helped me to overcome so many obstacles. You know what I'm saying? Whether we're talking about the weed, whether we're talking about cursing, whether we're talking about, you know, a lot of sinful acts, bro. God has helped me, bro. But, you know, my biggest fight, bro, is lust, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I'm getting better and better. You know what I mean? But, you know, it's just, man, when you've been lusting for so long and then the world's try to make it seem like it's normal, you know, it's a battle. You know, I ain't gonna lie. It's one of the hardest battles I've ever faced. You know, letting go of weed was very, very, you know, I've been sober for 1.5 years and I don't plan on going back at all. You know, will not go back at all. You know, but that was hard. But lust, man, that is a different battle. You know, that's a different war field, you know, that I'm actually beating, you know what I'm saying? And I'm going to continue beating, you know what I'm saying? But man, you know, man, telling you, man, that's just, I had to just jump on that bandwagon and just had to just like, bro, just the devil just know your weaknesses, bro, you know? And he just know, man.
Coincidence.
He knows.
Identities often feed off emotional.
Oh God, bro, you ain't beating the devil, man.
Is the Hodgson
man is very
lost their father when
smart,
he ran away
man.
And had twins with the woman from down the street. They most likely opened themselves up to the poltergeist when sisters Janet and Margaret used a spirit board to ask a vulnerable question.
Is Dad ever coming home?
As we know, thanks to other Conjureverse entries, reaching out to the spirit world to try to get information or talk to a loved one can be dangerous.
It's very dangerous.
Essentially inviting an inhuman spirit into your life. The inhuman spirit may trick the victim, making
freak?
him or her think that they're talking to the spirit of a person.
That's what I be saying, and that's why I try to tell people in real life, bro. Have you ever seen like your family? If you ever seen like a dead family member, bro, that is a demon, bro, portraying to be your grandma. That is a demon to portraying to be your dad. That's not her dad. That is a demon portraying to be her dad. You know what I mean? You're not summoning up your dad. Like, it's not him. You know, your dad and mom is gone. You haven't seen your dad. That's not your dad. It's not your mom. You think you seen your dad. You think you seen your mom. The devil just uses depression and pain, bro, to get to you. You know what I'm saying? He does these type of things. I'm telling you, he just does these type of things. The man is just evil, man. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, he just does these type of things, bro. You know, and just know, bro, your mom and dad, he's not here. You know what I mean? Your mom and dad isn't that powerful to come from the dead and visit you. You know what I'm saying? Your mom and dad is dead, bro. You know, your grandma's dead. Your cousin is dead. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know, like even when it comes to my cousin, I haven't seen I dream about my cousin all the time, but I haven't seen him because I'm not trying to contact him. You know, what I've seen is he's dead. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, so it's just, I feel like when people see their dead relatives, they mourn on it or try to contact them in certain type of way. You know what I mean? Just how she tried to contact her dad. You feel me?
When in fact, they're talking to a malevolent entity. So asking if their dad is coming home told Valak that this family is already struggling on an emotional level, and they would be the perfect targets. But after nearly being defeated by Irene, Valak wanted to operate in secrecy this time. So instead of haunting the family directly, it took hold of the ghost of a man named Bill Wilkins, making it seem like Bill was the one terrorizing the family. During the middle of the night, Janet is transported downstairs in front of the chair that Bill Wilkins passed on. As taught by Ed Warren, the OG horror history teacher before emo Abraham Lincoln took over, there are 3 stages of demonic activity:
infestation, oppression, and possession.
The Hodgsons began to experience the symptoms of infestation. Janet was terrorized in her dreams, and Valak forced her to sleepwalk, sleep talk, and sleephawk. Wait, no, not sleepwalk. You can go back to sleepwalk. But Valak would do other stuff, like manifest the image of Bill Wilkins to scare them, move around toys and objects to give the impression that these items are possessed, intimidate them with voices in the night, and mess with the TV, or as they called it,
the telly.
This is also another example of Valak using reflections to scare a victim, just like it did to Sister Irene in the chapel. At this point, the activity escalates to stage 2, oppression. This involves shaking beds, slamming doors, bite marks, flying furniture, and other very clear-cut paranormal mayhem. The family flees the house in the middle of the night and brings in outside help. Police officers, reporters, videographers, passersby, and others all experience the phenomenon. It is around this time that a strange occurrence goes down back in the US that could suggest that we may see Valak again in a future Conjuring installment.
And I want y'all to know the Conjuring has happened for real. That's what I want y'all to understand. This happened for real. This happened to a real family, bro. That's what I'll be trying to, based on a true story. It's not just a movie.
While Valak
of course, it's a movie, but
family more miserable in the
Conjuring happened for real, bro.
Lorraine was growing more paranoid over in the United States. Ed had seen Valak in a dream, which caused him to create a painting of the creepy nun, and Lorraine would have a vision of her own. There's also a scene where Judy is frozen by the disturbing image of Valak, though it's not entirely clear if this was all part of Lorraine's vision or if they both were able to see Valak. I have the sense that Judy does see Valak though, because the name appears multiple times in her artwork. Lorraine would also discover the demon's name in her own vision. As the Enfield poltergeist gets more and more attention in the media, Valak would hide behind the ghost of the old man, Bill Wilkins. From my understanding of the events, it essentially used Bill as a shield, commanding his voice and in some cases his appearance, and this also made it so that Valak's demonic energy would not be picked up on by a medium. Listen to the way that Janet would eventually describe the phenomenon.
Does it feel like
some
it's coming
interesting-ish?
No, more like it's coming from behind me. Like I'm being used.
But Bill was not the only facade that the inhuman spirit would use to its advantage. The Hodgsons' youngest son, Billy, has a zoetrope toy that tells the nursery rhyme of the Crooked Man. Billy used to sing along with it in order to work on improving his speech impediment, but he never quite overcame it. Valak tends to use the form of whatever its subject has not overcome, so when Billy is alone, Valak appears to him as the Crooked Man. What's not entirely explained is if the Crooked Man once existed as a separate entity like Bill Wilkins, or if it was just Valak taking the form that it saw on the toy. I'm guessing the Crooked Man is a separate entity though, based on this line from Ed.
The old man, the crooked man, they're just facade, trying to keep us from seeing the real evil in that house.
I don't think Valak would risk exposing itself when it had kept its involvement a secret for so long. The demon would not want the church finding out and sending people in to destroy it. You'll notice that it never uses the nun form until Lorraine shows up. The in-universe explanation is that Valak used the nun to attack Lorraine's faith, which was shaken by this encounter that scared her so much all of those years ago. Director James Wan explained the decision further in an Instagram post. During editing, I deemed this beautifully designed and sculpted horned demon too out of left field field for the film. It needed to be more grounded and personal, something that would take Lorraine's faith and try to test/corrupt it. I remember the real-life Lorraine Warren talking about her love and reverence for her nun friends, and a light bulb went off. Thus, the demon nun was born. So we went back and replaced all of the horned demon scenes with the nun during additional photography. Many of the Hodgson's neighbors donated crosses that were hung up all around Janet and Margaret's room in hopes that this could weaken the evil and prevent objects from moving around, but unlike the circle of crosses at the Abbey in Romania, this is not enough to contain Valak. The case would eventually gain enough notoriety that the church decides to send Ed and Lorraine across the sea to see what's up. When they arrive, Valak remembers them and hopes to get Bill to scare them away.
It said it wants to hurt you.
When did it say that?
Right now.
On December 21st, 1977, they perform a test to see if the spirit haunting the house was speaking through Janet or if she was just making the noises on her own. They're unable to determine that it was all Janet, but Lorraine is still skeptical because she doesn't sense any presence in the house. That night, Janet is transported in her sleep to the first floor ceiling where she sees Old Man Bill sitting up on his chair. He gets up and goes upstairs. Then she's pulled upwards into her room, the room where most of the paranormal instances had taken place. Valak's presence causes all of the crosses in the room to invert, and Janet encounters Old Man Bill, who has the yellow glowing eyes of the demon. Ed and Lorraine get into the room in time to rescue Janet from being suffocated at the foot of a window curtain. A day later, on the 22nd, Ed helps fix a floor in the basement of the house where Valak rises again. It first looks as if it's going to attack Ed, and I surmise this is in order to lure Mrs. Hodgson into the flooded area where it can then attack and bite her in the arm. This attack strategy isn't random. Valak wants to freak out the family and isolate them by making it look like they're just making the whole thing up. When Ed finds the retainer with the teeth, or as they call them in the UK, teeth, that line up with the bite mark on Peggy's arm, he's going to question if it was placed there by a supernatural entity or if it was planted there by Peggy herself to sell the story. That is the reason that Valak has everyone turn away while Janet is making the demonic voices, and the reason that the only convincing proof of a demonic infestation happens while nobody from outside the household is present. This leads into the next part of Valak's plan.
Smart little freaking demon, huh? So this is an intelligent demon.
Up with video recording equipment.
I'm like, man, I'm telling the truth. You know what I'm saying? Valak is hunting this house.
Some of the supernatural happenings.
I don't even know why I'm staying in here. I don't even know why he's still staying in there. I'm selling the house immediately. You know what I'm saying? You think I'm finna deal with Valak? You know what I'm saying? I'm selling the house immediately. I mean, immediately.
But Valak plays it smart. It knows that it's managed to trick Lorraine up to this.
I ain't finna deal with this.
Behind the ghost of Bill Wilkins.
Promise you that.
But if proof of the poltergeist is captured, Ed and Lorraine will take it back to the church and they'll send in a bunch of their people, just as they did at the Abbey of St. Carta. So instead, the demon devises a plan to put a stop to the investigation. It tells Janet she has to create a fake paranormal incident in front of the cameras, threatening to kill her family if she doesn't comply. So she does just that, sticking knives into the table, throwing and destroying furniture, and smashing all of the dishes in the kitchen. The audio guy picks up a strange sound, which they trace to Janet, who is mangled in an electrical closet where she speaks Bill's voice, saying more nonsensical phrases. The whole incident was recorded by a paranormal skeptic, the psychologist named Anita Gregory, who is happy to have found proof that the Hodgsons were faking the haunting. Once the tape gets out, the public gains the impression that everything was a hoax, and all the investigators and reporters clear out, once again giving the family, and more importantly, Valak, their privacy back. Luckily for the Hodgsons, Ed figures out that Bill Wilkins was trying to covertly send a message by overlapping the two audio recordings.
Help me! It won't let me go!
Upon hearing this, Lorraine has another vision where she speaks to the real Bill Wilkins and gains an understanding of the true nature of Valak's presence for the first time.
Some crazy-ish right here, man. I'm gonna keep it real, man. What the freak, Valak? Valak, what the heck is wrong with you? You demonic mother effer.
Another vision, or perhaps this one is more of an astral projection of her in the green street.
Valak ain't playing, is he? He's trying to kill something, trying to put belt to booty.
Valak for the first time. He tells her that he came here to see his family, but he can't go because it wants her so badly. Breaking this down, Bill is saying that he entered the world of spirits instead of moving on to heaven because he thought he would be able to see his deceased family members, but he discovered they were not there, and he wanted to go on, but Valak would not let go of him because Valak wanted to use him as a piece of its plan to possess Janet's soul. When Lorraine asks how to stop it, Bill leaves her with a riddle. I am given and I am taken. I was there at your first breath, but you didn't ask for me, but I will follow you to your death. Before she can figure it out, Valak appears and essentially breaks up the mental connection. And this is the first time that Lorraine has been able to sense the inhuman spirit that her family member had gone up against decades before. The answer to Bill's riddle is a name. A name is given at birth, a name is taken by people throughout your life to identify you. You don't ask for a name, but it follows you to your death. The one part of the riddle that would have been misleading for me is the line, I was there at your first death, because that's not always the case. I think a lot of couples name their baby after it is born. Maybe Bill should have said, I was there at your first birthday party or something. So Lorraine's realization that she needs a name to have dominion over Valak goes back to the Genesis passage that I mentioned earlier. It is man's ability to name something that gives man power over that thing. Anyway, as Ed and Lorraine rush back to the house, Valak is now on a full-on reign of terror. Stage 2 of demonic activity is oppression. And judging how this stage is getting worse and worse for the family, I can only assume that Valak is getting very close to stage 3, possession. It seems like it was even already starting to possess Janet for short periods of time, if that's a possibility. When the Warrens arrive, Peggy is locked out of the house in a full state of panic. Ed tries to break in through the front window, and the demon hurls the couch across the room to block his entry. So he goes around to the back to go through the laundry room and break in from under the floorboards. But once inside, Valak locks the door, effectively separating him from the
smart demon,
messes with the pipes and scalds Ed's face with piping hot water, partially blinding him. But he's able to hobble his way to the upstairs bedroom where Janet is about to walk out of an open window and impale herself on the spiky tree stump that waits below. I'm not entirely sure why Valak would do this, since we've kind of established that when someone dies, a demon can no longer possess them, and it's pretty clear that Valak's main goal is to possess her. But as I have in other videos, I'll attempt to justify why Valak might have behaved like this. In Annabelle, we saw in the book The Devil's Welcome that Valak and Malthus are just two of the many demons detailed that all answer to Belial, who is basically the leader of all demons. We can even see Valak's symbol, the Ouroboros, appear way back in that movie. We've also seen in both Annabelle and The Nun that summoning these demons from hell usually involves making a human sacrifice, along with some kind of spell. Maybe this was all part of Valak's plan to summon another demonic presence, possibly Belial. Ed catches her before this can happen, but this leaves him at risk to fall out of the window himself. Lorraine comes in and finds Valak standing in the corner as Ed tries to reel in Janet. She runs to save Ed, but Valak's scream easily sends her flying backwards into the wall. However, she uses the demon's name to gain dominion over it. Upon saying this, Valak appears to crumble, and when the rain condemns it back to hell, it breaks down even further, revealing its true form to her for the first and only time before shrinking down into a void and disappearing. This would be the last confirmed interaction that the Warrens have with Valak. However, this may not mean the character is gone for good. As I mentioned, Valak takes on more than one persona during the 1977 Enfield Poltergeist saga. So, one of these facades was the manifestation of a nursery rhyme called the Crooked Man. After many of the Warrens' cases, they bring home a trinket and put it in their room of cursed objects. Ed describes these objects as bearers of evil spirits, almost like keeping a genie in a bottle. For the Enfield case, they bring home Johnny's Crooked Man zoetrope. If Valak went back to hell, I'm guessing the Crooked Man is the one trapped inside this toy. That seems to leave things open for another evildoer to stumble upon the evocation books left behind by the Duke of St. Carta and summon Valak to once again cross the threshold and terrorize our world. Regardless of what the future holds, I'll be sure to cover it here. If you want to explore the complete histories of
man, bro, you know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. I'm not gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? I told y'all, man, we're gonna give y'all different type of reactions here. We're gonna do another video, man. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna do 2 more videos just like these, bro. I told y'all I just want to be, I don't know, I just want to be diverse. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? That's just me, honestly. You know what I'm saying? I'm never gonna be just one type of audience, bro. You know, one thing about my sports audience, bro, they're very selfish. I'm gonna keep it real with you. You know, for me, I'm gonna keep it real with you. For me, honestly, I don't even want to watch sports 24/7. But bro, sports people, bro, are the most selfish people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have a audience that's just diverse. You're not my only audience, bro. So I'm not gonna just cater to you. You know, I'm not gonna just be like, oh yeah, you know what I mean, just sports. No, we're not gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, man, I appreciate y'all for watching this video, man. And for all my new subscribers and new viewers, if y'all want to go check out all my other videos like these, it is in the movie reaction playlist section. It's your boy Jay. Take it easy for you ends up like Daisy. I'm out, man.